Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And welcome to Thursday as the gold and silver rally continuing, the crude oil rally continuing. Wall Street trying to buy the dip, maybe. I don't know. I actually think this is, well, I'll just tell you what I think. Wall Street's in big trouble. How about that? Why do I get the feeling they were getting a lot of calls about people wanting to dump stocks and a dead cat bounce here? Well, but we'll see. Too early to tell. The Dow right now is up 400. Crude oil, the inventory reports we were waiting for yesterday came today because of MLK. 87.50 is where crude oil sits right now, up another 50 some odd cents as it was the two different reports. One had I think they both had very small builds, but unfortunately Cushing, Oklahoma, less crude available. I think next week's reports are going to determine does crude oil go into the 90s towards 100 right this second. I'm hoping sooner they got to take a little bit of a rest, but we'll see. If those numbers are not good next week, we're going to have even higher prices even sooner. But again, get ready. The prices at the pump, which are really elevated for this time of year, are going to start picking up. And depending on where you're looking, anywhere from 50 cents, that's probably the best case scenario. And this is going out to May for drive season. 50 cents a gallon from where they are today, that's probably your best case scenario. $1 a gallon more, I'm fingers crossed, is the worst case scenario. So, you know, what I like to do, let's split the difference. Plan on paying at least another 75 cents a gallon come May, and that's not going to feel very good. Back from assignment, Jason Walker's back with us on a very cold and icy and snowy front range in Colorado. All of you out there in Colorado, be careful driving around. And it's not really the people from Colorado, right, Jason? It's all the newbies you got to worry about.
It's everybody. Yeah, everybody drives like idiots. That's all there is to it. They already drive bad enough when the roads are clear, and then the ice is on the roads, and suddenly I see cars that are actually standing up. There's just north of the radio station here, you got the road that kind of takes you towards Highway 34. And yesterday, as I was going that direction, somebody went over the railroad tracks. There's like kind of a deep ditch on each corner of the railroad tracks, and somebody just went right into that corner, and the front of the car was in the ground. It was basically standing up in the ditch.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, that was probably pretty scary. The little drop down there. That's probably hopefully the seatbelt was on, because you'll go to the windshield on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Be careful out there.
I got one thing, Joe. Let me ask one thing. The stock being up. So we've had some selling off in the stock markets. Maybe on the break, you could. Why do I get the feeling that the numbers going up today have a lot to do with the biggest stocks? Hey, we sold all that other smaller stuff we own, and we bought the bigger stuff. Maybe you should check the big stocks, the Apple.
Well, it's always the bigger stuff. Let's face it. You can't have a Dow move 400 points unless Apple and Microsoft are doing the heavy lifting. It's just too big of a piece. The one thing that I know for sure, the stocks like Exxon are definitely moving higher as oil prices are and I don't know why they would catch anybody off guard. I've been warning about oil prices for about the last 6 months now, but there's some of that in there as well. But the problem was the economic data today was not good, and we'll talk all about that. We had jobless claims up and up big. This really caught me off guard even. 286,000. The expectation was for like 220. So this was a big miss to the upside. This is the biggest number since October 8th. right? We hear all these things about all these jobs that are available, and everybody's hiring. Listen, everyone's hiring for crappy jobs. There's plenty of crappy jobs out there.
Great, Joe.
Right? If you want to be a waitress, a waiter, a busboy, you want to be a cook, you want to have fries with that, there's jobs out there for you. If you want to slice the ham and the turkey at the deli counter, there's a job out there for you. But that's really about it, Jason.
Awesome. Yeah, this will be a good show. I have an email, so whenever you want to slip my email, I want to read this email that I got at 8 o'clock last night, which very interesting, Joe, because you bring the things on that matter to people that actually you can see and touch and feel. Hey, the inflation is what we've been really talking about a lot lately, which, hey, that's you going and paying more money. It actually physically is affecting you now. And then you cover the numbers of here's what's going on. These numbers spell a lot of gloom and doom in the near future, and this is why you buy gold and silver. So this is one of those things, Joe. It's I got the email, and it's very interesting. Very interesting what's going on, and I got a lot of comments about this, and I'm sure you will too.
Great, we'll do that in the section coming up next, and again, the new or existing home sales. The largest drop in existing home sales since 2009. So that's going back. That's like crash era. Falling here. Obviously, interest rates, we would have expected a different number. I would have expected anyway, with interest rates on the rise, that people would be, you know what, I'm going to buy now. I can't wait because I don't want to pay higher interest rates. So housing disappointed, jobless claims disappointed. The only thing I guess that didn't disappoint, crude oil. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. Hey, we're back here, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe Jaquint, Jason Walker, and Jason wants to got an email last night. Wants to talk about. Go for it.
This is great, Joe. So I got an email at 8 o'clock as I was going through paying some bills and whatnot, and the title of the email said "Out of Stock Notification." Now, the company is El Dorado that sent the email. So I've been talking about their price. The prices went from 99 cents to $1.39, and then on the shelves they have the, hey, but you can buy it today for $1.25. So it's gone up 25% on the shelf. So when I got this email, well, yesterday was my delivery day. And these delivery days are set up a year ahead of time. So like at the beginning of the year, when they send me my first bill for January, they'll give me my delivery days for each delivery for the month. It's every 4 weeks. So every once in a while I get like 2 deliveries in 1 month. But it's every 4 weeks you get your delivery day set up. So this is very specific. And El Dorado is one of those companies. It's not, I think they pride themselves on being sort of like the, hey, we're kind of the small company guy that's on your side. It's not a small company, but it's not a huge company. They won. They entered into those big contests for the best water. They won number 1 best water in the country, and they've done this many times. But they won last year, and they were number 2 for best water in the world. So it's a good company, and they pride themselves on a good product. So it's kind of cool because unlike some of these other companies I deal with, Joe, they actually try to help the customer, and they're very honest with their emails. Anytime there's a snowstorm or a holiday or something, they just send you an email and says, look, we can't deliver today. We're going to bump you back a day. So when I got this email, not only is it, more of what we talk about, but on top of this, you can hear in the email there's some confusion, like they don't really know how to even break this news. Because it's not as corporate. If it is corporate, they say something very bland and very, so that you can't point any fingers. So let me read this, and mind you, this is 8 o'clock at night. They always deliver at 7 in the morning. I see the water and get it in the house before I come into the radio station. So here we go. So, dear 159366, Jason Walker. We regret to inform you that some of our case pack products that you regularly order from us are currently out of stock, and we are unable to deliver today. So I don't buy the 5-gallon jugs that you put on the machine. I buy cases of a box with 4 1-gallon jugs. There's many reasons I'm doing that, and I'm glad right now that I'm doing it because I don't want them to have to either bring a new machine or try to clean the current machine because your water essentially can get very dirty and germy. So when you have 1-gallon jugs, less bacteria, less germs, less getting sick. We are continuing to see extraordinarily challenging staffing and supply conditions from our bottle supplier and have not been able to receive a steady supply of our small bottles, which continues to cause out of stocks. Here is our current status by bottle size. This is where the confusion comes in, which I find it very interesting. There's 4 bullet points here. We currently have steady supply and have in stock our 1 gallons, my bottles, our 5 gallons, our 3 gallons, and our 3-gallon glass bottles. Then why did they send my delivery to me is one of the first thing I thought when I read this. Half liters, 24 ounce, 1.5 liter vitamin waters are currently in stock. Our 1 liter bottles continue to be out of stock at this time. And then the last bullet point, bottle supplies continue to be unreliable. So they're saying they don't have it. I'm not, and I don't have my delivery. But they're saying they have 1 gallon bottles. But then say that. So, like I said, whoever wrote this, I don't think they really know what they're supposed to say to the customer. So it says under the bullet points, our purchasing and production teams continue to work with our current bottle supplier to stabilize our supply of bottles as well as our staffing. And then in bold, the next paragraph, more than anything, we want to be able to deliver the case products you need. On your delivery day, we will deliver all the in-stock products on your order as scheduled. Okay, well, I guess there was none because my delivery was supposed to be 12 hours before this email. I got nothing. Any out-of-stock product, we will try to deliver again on your next scheduled day. That is next month, Joe. They just canceled me. That's all they.
Well, and again, get ready. So we've been talking a lot about this. This is a huge, huge problem. And remember, just remember, everybody told you it was going to get better, but me. I told you the situation was going to get worse. And what do you think that the world suppliers call me up on the phone and tell me? No.
Joe, guess what is not on the shelves right now? That's something that I use for different situations. My mom and dad use this for their CPAP. You know, the masks that some people wear at night for oxygen. Distilled water, 1 gallon jugs, are almost nowhere on the shelves right now. I'm wondering if the milk industry is buying up all the 1 gallon jugs, Joe, is what I'm wondering.
And again, this is a huge problem, and it's going to, and I hate to say it, it's going to continue to get worse. Because, you know, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure any of this stuff out. And the problem is very simple. And we kind of laid into it yesterday. Because how do I know inflation is going to be so stinking bad? Because until the demand goes away, basically until we enter a recession, the problem doesn't end. Period. They printed so much money. You have no idea. It was so reckless, so idiotic. I can't even put it into words. Also, and just think about, let's use Wall Street as an example. Okay, today. Obviously, anyone really buying Wall Street, I mean, they may buy it today because they think they can make a few dollars, but no one actually believes Wall Street's going to have a good year this year, especially if the Fed does what they're saying they're going to do, right? So the only ones that would maybe say it's going to are the ones that are saying, hey, listen, the Feds are a bunch of cowards and chickens, and they're not actually going to try to fix the problem. But neither here nor there. Do you mean to tell me that we could shut down the whole world, essentially, because that's about what we did in 2020. And yet, we had one of the biggest Wall Street rallies. Like, think about it. Last year the S&P was up 20%. Right? It doesn't make sense. And the reason that it was up 20% is the amount of printing the Federal Reserve did. Some of it you see, a lot of it you don't see. This is going to be a huge, huge problem going forward. Like Jason said, all of a sudden, hey, we can't get 1 gallon jugs. Yep. And then you got to make decisions. To Jason's point, okay, well, what can we do? Well, distilled water, we sell the least of. Okay, well, let's stop making that. Right, but we don't have enough jugs for regular water. Let's stop making this and stop making that, and at least we can try to keep, some of the things that we sell the most of available. But again, so what's going to happen? Well, the answer is going to be really simple. The cost of those jugs, and here's my, again, why I don't have to be a rocket scientist. How much you want to bet the cost of those jugs have doubled and tripled and quadrupled, right? And all of a sudden, the next thing you're going to see, the next email you're going to get, Jason, hey, we've got another price increase. I know it was $1 a year ago. Now it's $1.25. Well, now it's $1.50, right? Now it's $2. And really, take every item. Procter & Gamble, how long did it take? They just released earnings, 2 days ago? First price increase is already announced. Tide, Downy, the whole laundry aisle, all prices rising on the I think it's the second week of February, right? And we talk about every day the cost of things going up, the cost of things hitting new record highs. Today it's laundry soap and orange juice. Orange juice futures skyrocketing, bad weather, right? Winters are not bad weather. There's always bad weather. Let me
back you up real quick. Let me back you up. I'm going to read the last two sentences here and then pose a question and an observation. It says here, the bottle supplies on these small sizes are sporadic, but any bottles we receive will fill orders to our customers as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, we expect this cycle of in-stock and out-of-stock to continue for a while. I want to say one thing after I pose a question. The question is, what are the odds I'm even going to get this order in February? I'm starting to think I'm not going to get this next month. And then the observations are just to back up what you're saying, Joe, not just the price rate going up for the bottles. But the first thing that I did is I grabbed Jack. It's like, well, before King Soopers closes, let's get on the road. Let's go buy some bottles because we're not getting our order. We went and got the big shopping cart, threw 20 gallons into the thing, and I probably need to get 40 to 60 is what I'm going to need to get to get my supply. Because I want to have a month's worth of water just for the breakdown of these supplies. And we went and got 20 bottles off the shelf. The shelf wasn't full, Joe, so what does that say about shortages, right?
Yeah, and exactly. So you're buying 20 bottles, whoever else is buying 20 bottles, and next thing you know, it's a cascading thing, and all of a sudden King Soopers like, what happened?
Yep, what happened?
What happened? We normally sell, and listen, the stores know, hey, we normally sell, let's just say 500 1-gallon jugs a day. And all of a sudden, today, there was 1,000 sold. And they're like, what happened? We're out of water.
And King Soopers is going to get theirs before I get mine, I can tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. And this is happening everywhere. We're talking about orange juice. Listen, the price of orange juice is already up 50%. Today alone, up another 5%. And again, it just doesn't stop, right? So you think, is orange juice any different? You think that they can get all the cartons they need for their orange juice? Of course not. Now not only is the product that goes inside of the bottle getting more expensive, the actual bottle itself is getting more expensive. This is something, the people that pick the orange juice, you got to pay them more. The people that process it got to get paid more. Everybody's got to get paid more on top of it. This is going to be something, like I said, you're not prepared. I know a lot of you out there thinking you are, you're not. When New York is sending out, utility is sending out to their older people, when you're a senior citizen in New York, you get all these breaks and discounts. Hey, by the way, we've got to raise your power bill 31%. That's unheard of. And here's the problem. They had to raise it 31% at $80 oil. What is it going to be? How much are they going to have to raise it at $100, $125, $150 oil? And that's really, Jason, what I'm seeing here. None of these supply issues go away. They're not going away in 2022. They're not going away.
No, they're not.
I mean, right now, best case scenario, we enter a recession in 2022, so 2023, maybe some of the supply issues lighten up.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Joe, that I think the inflation is going to keep going through this year and maybe even into next year. And then, well, you know, and I don't know if we'll have time to talk about it today, but as the days go on, we'll start talking about something else. When you have this inflation that keeps going, a new problem comes in. And with Joe Biden, and I'm not a big Democrat, Republican, I don't like either side, but having a liberal as a president, this is something that will traditionally be the so-called fix, which is worse than the problem of inflation, is price control, Joe. At some point when things go crazy, well, we got to just put some price controls in place, and that's even worse than the inflation, Joe. And we're looking at price controls pretty soon, I think.
Yeah, there's already whispers of that. You hear some of the people that really don't understand how the real world works. Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Biden. He did this marathon press conference yesterday. Absolute disaster. All but telling Russia to invade Ukraine. It was absolutely crazy. But neither here nor there. They're already talking about price controls, or they're trying to attack businesses like, it's Kroger's fault or Walmart's fault, right? No, it's Jay Powell's fault. It's Janet Yellen's fault. But again, let's not blame the bankers. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. More on Procter & Gamble. It's actually a lot worse than I thought. They have 18 different lines. Okay, so that's the total company. They break up the whole company in 18 different lines. 10 of the 18 lines are going to have another price increase. It's February 28th. Tide, Downy sheets I told you about, but here are the lines. Baby care, feminine care, adult incontinence, family care, home care, hair care, grooming, oral care, skin care. Now, here's what's even worse. According to Procter & Gamble, they're saying that not a lot of the company's price increases that they've already previously announced have yet to take effect, and they're going to be taking effect sometime in the next week to 10 days. And then they're saying, hey, by the way, February 28th, we're raising them again, Jason. So this thing's really getting out of control. In a matter of 90 days, they've had to up what they plan on having to spend for materials by quarter by another $300 million expected additional cost for Procter & Gamble in the quarter. The reason behind this next round of price increases, when the round they previously announced hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, that's not good. And those are like health comfort items that you're talking about. So those are items that people they'll keep buying and keep buying. And
well, yeah, you got to wash your clothes,
yeah.
Right? You got to have your hygiene products, your baby care. These are. It's not like, hey, well, you know what? I'm just not going to buy laundry soap today.
Right, Joe. And once again, when people see, let's just say the average guy just happens to get whiff of what you're reading or talking about. And they say, okay, the first price change hasn't really gone into effect, and there's another one coming behind it. What do? You do the same thing I just did yesterday with the water. You got to go buy a bunch, right? And there comes your shortages.
Well, and here's what happens. You know what ends up happening? The bigger retailers, they bought all the product, right? They went out, Walmart, Kroger, and they just bought. Hey, P&G's telling us the price increase, double the order. And you're going to see a lot of towns, especially where you have independent grocers, the small towns in America, you are going to start seeing, I think that's where you're really going to see the shocks of the empty shelves, where more in your bigger cities, it'll be sporadic, right? There'll be, they're out of this brand, but they've got that brand or something to that effect. When you get into these smaller towns, right, they may not have any Lay's potato chips at all, regardless of the flavor. They may not have any Tide detergent. They may not have any bottled water. And that's what this effect is really going to be like, Jason.
That's exactly right. The El Dorado story, which I talked about last segment, that's not one of the biggest companies that are consuming these 1-gallon bottles. So this is showing you, okay, a medium-sized company that uses a lot of 1-gallon bottles, they can't get there, so, it's just going to go up to the bigger guys eventually. Yeah, once the smaller guys can't keep it in stock, then the bigger guy can't get it, and then the biggest guy can't get it in stock, and that's when you're going to walk into Walmart and suddenly you can't get a gallon of milk, not because the cows aren't producing the milk and their dairy farmers don't have the milk available. They don't have anything to put it in. Because it's going to happen, Joe. It's just shortages.
Yeah, exactly, right? And again, just kind of what we said. The milk's more expensive. That goes into the container. Then the container's more expensive. And then, by the way, we don't even have it, right? We don't even have a container to put it in.
Which sparks panic buying, Joe, which sparks the panic buying, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, remember the toilet paper? Right.
Yeah.
I never understood the toilet. I still didn't understand the toilet paper thing, but neither here nor. How about this? Flexport. For those of you that don't know, they track ocean timeliness. Okay? So how do I know that the problem was going to get worse? Well, these are one of the things that I look at. What are the big ocean freight liners saying about deliveries? Right? If delivery times are decreasing, in other words, hey, we said it was going to be 6 weeks. But now we're saying 4 weeks. Well, that would be a huge indicator to me. Hey, things are getting better, right? Look at things are moving much faster. Well, guess what? The opposite just happened. They said that the index has reached a new all-time record high. They're now saying that deliveries will take at best 114 days to deliver. That's 57% higher than a year ago, 125% higher than right before COVID started in 2020. So we're sitting here and this problem's getting worse, not better. So all of a sudden now they're saying, hey, listen, what used to take you 6 weeks, it's now going to take you 14, 15 weeks. So this is, Jason, a huge indicator from the shipping lines that the product getting back in stock is getting worse, not better.
That's right, Joe. I mean, I bought some furniture when we bought our house, my wife and I, in 2020. And, you had coronavirus being blamed on everything, and it took me 4 months to get a chair. Okay, it was taking forever, right? And those things haven't stopped. There are still these furniture items that take 4 months or 6 months. Brooke does a lot of the purchasing, so she's notified me. Well, if we decide to buy this, it's going to take 6 weeks to get it, or if we order this, they might ship it to us in 8 weeks. And Joe, then you look, and once again, I'm going to go right to this. It takes 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, until suddenly it's like, well, we just canceled. We're just not going to get it to you. Which is what happened with my water delivery. I was supposed to get my water at 7 in the morning, and at 8 o'clock at night, they notify me of the cancellation. It's crazy, Joe. It's crazy. These people don't know. El Dorado obviously does not know how to handle this problem.
Well, it's just getting worse and worse, right? And you know what they were being told, probably like everybody else. If that delivery can come today, if those jugs show up today, we can make it. We can still get it out. And then when it doesn't come, then all of a sudden you've got a huge problem. And here's the problem for a company like El Dorado. Now what do? What about their employees? And when we look at jobless claims today, we told you about Peloton announcing layoffs. Why do I have a bad feeling that in the next 90 to 100 days, layoff announcements are they're going to really start creeping up, and for a different variety of reasons. But use El Dorado as your example. If they have no cartons to deliver, what about the delivery drivers? What about the people that bottle the water in the warehouse? Right? What do they do?
That's right, Joe. It said right there in the email, we have staffing issues. It was mentioned in the email, right?
Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe Jaquint, Jason Walker here today. And we're talking about product availability, what's happening with these. How do you run a business? I'll give you a great example, just here at Patriot. So we put new floors in last year. We had to, we've been here 16 years in the building. So, you gotta replace things. We put a new vanity in the bathroom, and we have a little kitchenette area. It's about 8 feet of cabinets. And we're actually going to replace the cabinets in the kitchenette area, take the old ones, put them in the shipping room, so on and so forth. 8 feet of cabinets. Went to Home Depot before Thanksgiving. And Home Depot was like, yeah, well, obviously, hey, we'll take your money. Of course they'll take your money. And they told us, hey, it's going to be, 6 to 8 weeks before the cabinets are available. So now it's been 60 days now, and Home Depot just sent my wife an email and said, due to unexpected, shipping delays, and everybody knows, they're all using the same thing. It could take another, Jason, 6 to 8 weeks before the cabinets are in.
Right, Joe. I've had many stories with listeners, customers, talk about certain items that they do this. They give you the time frame, then they give you the delay, and sometimes it's either 2 delays or 3 delays, and then it's like, sorry, we are unable to get you your item. And I think a lot of that has to do, 2021, Joe, has to do with, hey, by the time we actually get that order filled, wait a minute, we sold them to them for way too cheap. We can't make money on this. Yeah,
that's exactly right. When that's happening, all that means is whatever they charged you, it wasn't nearly enough.
Yeah, because the inflation went up, and then in the end, right. We waited 3 or 4 months, and now it's too expensive. They would have filled it originally.
And of course, out of the kindness of their heart, we're just going to give you your money back. We're not going to get them. Here's your money back. And of course, then you're like, well, I still got to go get cabinets. You go back down there, and next thing you know, the same cabinets are double the price from the ones that you ordered, 4 or 5 months ago. And how much? Why do I get the feeling even those cabinets? Oh, it'd be 6 to 8 weeks, right?
Correct, and you hope that they can actually fill your order this time,
right?
The whole thing is, Joe, is they can't fill the orders, so they can charge whatever they need to charge, and they can cancel whatever they need to cancel because they can only do so many orders. So it's like, well, we'd love to have all of the customers taken care of, but since that's no longer happening, we need to get as much as we can from the ones we can fill. That's going to continue to happen, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Gold's unchanged right now, 1842. That's about the lowest gold's been all day today. Silver, another great performance from silver. Silver's now starting to catch its breath, if you will, its wings, if you will. Jason and I remember a few weeks ago we were talking about Bank of America, and I was telling you, based on some internal things Jason and I were looking at, it looks like Bank of America is trying to get out of that huge silver short position. And sure enough, silver rallying again today, up another 40 cents, 24.63. So yesterday we broke 24, and then remember I told you go 50-cent increments. It's broken 24.50 now. We're going to be looking here at 25 right now. Silver. For me to say, hey, I think silver's fairly priced, Jason, we still need another $4 an ounce, and that's if gold doesn't move. And we know, obviously, that's not going to happen, but a lot of upside in silver here, and I think we're going to see silver's going to be one of the best performers when you look at 2022. Of course, it was one of the worst performers, right, obviously, for let's just call it what it is. Paper shorting reasons. Silver should have had a good year last year. It's just going to have, here's what I think. What should have happened last year is going to happen this year, and then it's going to happen by a factor of 2 or 3 times. So I could easily see silver with a 50% gain. Because you got to remember, the start of the year is only $22. That would a 50% gain only put silver at $33, Jason.
Exactly, Joe. And I was watching a video last night, and the guy was saying, and he has ways of trying to track some of the big purchases. He said there was a whale buyer Tuesday and Wednesday. Some unidentified large-scale physical buyer bought like 780 million ounces of silver. So that could be why gold is kind of sitting flat, but silver is just continuing to go because someone took order of a large amount. That's not a small amount, Joe.
Yeah, and that may just be Bank of America trying to unwind in their silver markets, yet to be determined. Right now, U.S. Silver Eagles, I have a variety of years available. I can't tell you they're 2022s. Really, those have been bought up by the TV guys and some others, but rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles right now, $730 a roll. Silver Eagle rolls are up $30 just this week. So and it's only Thursday, Jason.
It's only Thursday, and there's so I always say this when it comes to buying gold and silver. It never bothered me what the price was because I'd look at the ounces I was buying. We tie everything to the Federal Reserve note, how many dollars. To me, it's always how many ounces are you getting, because you buy it at $7.30 today. Okay, it might go down tomorrow, and then it goes up the next day. But over a long enough timeline, you're just going to see, as with inflation, gold and silver just keeps going up because that's the way it is. And pretty soon a couple of years ago, went by and suddenly say, well, I remember I bought those rolls at $730 when you're buying it now at like $1,050 for a roll, because those times are coming, Joe.
Yeah, it was so funny. The first thing I sold here, the very first thing, was a roll of Silver Eagles. I even remember the person I bought it from. She's still with us, still doing business with us. It was $125. That was for a roll of Silver Eagles. It's crazy what's happened in 19 years. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. U.S. Silver Eagles, $730 a roll. And then I've got, on the gold side, we've got a couple of oddball items, but they're priced to perfection. I've got 20 francs. They're Swiss, they're French, they're a little hodgepodge of 20 francs. Remember, 20 franc is almost 0.2 of an ounce, 0.1867, everywhere online. $370 to $390. Melt on the franc right now is about $344. I've got francs $6 over melt. I got 14 of them at $350. And then we've got some of those 1 ducats. Remember, those are the 10th ounce, if you will, the Austrian 10th ounce. They're actually 0.11. And those are at $220 today. $235 to $275 online. $220 on the 1 ducats. Melt value on a 1 ducat about $208, so $12 over melt on a just over a tenth of an ounce. That's unheard of. A 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle right now, $260, and that's cheap. $260. So $40 less, and you get a little more gold. $12 over melt on the ducats. I got 50 of those at $220. Great fractional material. And then the francs, the 20 francs, they're mostly Swiss, but there's some French francs in there as well. Jason, $6 over melt at $350 today at 800-951-0592.
Absolutely, Joe. I was just listening to your story of the first roll of Silver Eagles you sold, which, if I did it right, I think it was $5.50 per ounce. And yeah. I just did the little search real quick because we talked about king crab legs before Christmas. $5.94 an ounce for Alaskan king crab legs. It's more than silver was in your early days. Isn't that nuts?
An ounce, not a pound, an ounce.
It's $95 a pound.
Wow.
At a big company.
Yeah, 800-951-0592. And gold and silver are always counterintuitive. You know, they want you to believe, hey, when interest rates rise, right, the dollar gets stronger, and that's bad for gold and silver. No, it's actually the opposite. Interest rates are rising because they're finally admitting inflation's a problem. And that's why you're going to see gold and silver rallying. Last year, it was a problem. They just didn't want to admit it, and interest rates didn't rise. They're going to be rising now. It's actually a little bit counterintuitive to what most people think are going to happen. I think it's going to be a huge year, and only because the only solution I can see is for this to get better, they've got to cause a recession. Or, Jason, we're going to see inflation. I mean, we'll probably be talking about things like you said, King Cans, but forget $95 a pound, right? Double it, $200 a pound, right? You know, forget about a new car average price being $50,000. It's going to be $75,000, right? And things of that nature. Homes are now going to cost $1 million. And oh, by the way, it'll be ready sometime a year and a half from now because that's how long it's going to take us to get all the stuff.
That's exactly right, Joe. I think you see some runaway inflation, and then you have the president come in and is like, well, we'll just throw some price controls. I mean, how many of us went to buy the toilet paper in 2020, and they said, well, you can buy one. Price controls could also be how many you're allowed to even take off the shelf, Joe, and that they've already done price controls. So I think inflation and price controls are the future.
We'll be back for the final show tomorrow.